Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project, we're going to be closing this pool up for the winter. So the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to go down there with our robot and we're going to clean up the bottom of the pool. It's imperative that everything underneath there is absolutely spotless before you cover it up. If you can't clean it out with your robot, you got to get down there with your vacuum. But it's really important that you make sure that you get everything out of the pool so you don't have any stains in the spring. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over to our filter and we're going to take our multi-valve and we're going to put it to the waste position, because what we want to do is we want to pump the water away from the pool and out to the street and down into the sewer. Alright, so now we activated it, we have it pumping, we're checking to make sure that there's no air pockets inside there. We go out and make sure that our hose is connected up properly so that we're not flooding somebody else's property. Okay, next we're going to go over and we're going to check our skimmer to make sure that the water is still going down through there. We're going to make sure our main drain is clear and it's not obstructed with leaves. Now once the skimmer basket is actually, the water is too low to go into the skimmer, then we're just going to switch the valve over to just the main drain, which is in the bottom of the pool, and we'll pump the water out through that. Now if you have a salt generator, which is actually what we have on this pool here, we're going to disconnect the electrical connector from the bottom of the box. We're going to take the wiring away from the pool itself, and we're going to store the salt generator inside, away from the elements outside. We are going to take off on the timer. We're going to remove the on and off switches from the timer, and we're going to store them in a safe location so that way in the spring when we're ready to reactivate the timer, we'll have them in hand and we can put them back on. So we're going to take them both off. Now sometimes you can leave them inside the box itself. I don't do that. I take them and I bring them inside the house because I don't want to take a chance with them accidentally falling out. We made sure that the salt generator was in the off position, and that's it for the salt generator. Done. And next we're going to go over, we're going to take a look at the water to see if it's below our return jets, and as we can see it's not below the returns yet, so we're just going to leave that sit for now. These are the plugs that we're going to seal off the returns with, and as you can see I put Teflon around them. Even though it has a rubber ring, I put Teflon on it just to be absolutely sure that no water can get in through that part right there. Now as you can see here, the water is down below in the skimmer basket itself. We now have to take our gizmo, and again we take our gizmo and we wrap the tape around it, so that way when we screw it in it'll be a nice tight fit and no moisture or no water can get down into that drain itself. Here you can see our robot is still working, clearing up all the leaves and debris in the bottom. This is our second plug for the other return jet, and we wrap that again with the Teflon tape just to make sure that no water gets in. Now in this particular case we're going to use about 2.5 gallons of antifreeze, so we have them here just to make sure. The antifreeze you're using of course is made specifically for a swimming pool and not anything else. And as you can see, the water is still taking a little bit to go down. This is the longest part of the job, is actually pumping the water out and away from the pool. So again, we need to wait for that water to go down below the returns to the very bottom of the return jets, and once it gets to the bottom, then we'll be in good shape. And there goes our robot still working hard. While we're waiting for our water to go down below the jets, we're going to take off the salt generator cables. We had them held on with zip ties, so we just cut the zip ties and pulled them off, and now the salt generator is ready to go. We're going to take our adjustable pliers, we're going to loosen the wire up on top right there. This wire is held on with just a nut, so we're just going to loosen it up so we can take it off, and we'll bring this part into the house so that way it's not outside in the winter and the possibility of freezing and cracking. Alright, lift our wire off, put that nut back on the end of it because you want to make sure where that nut is in the spring when you're ready to put it back together. So we screw it back on, push this off to the side, and that's it. While we're waiting for that water to go down, we have our air compressor set up. We have it running. We have on the tank itself is 150 pounds of pressure, but on the outlet side that goes over to blow out the pool itself, we only have it set to 25. I would recommend 20, 25 pounds, no more than that, because you don't want to take a chance on rupturing anything and winding up with a failure. All right, so now on our outlet, we're adjusting it so we're exactly 25, and now we're good to go for that. Now after the water has gone down a little bit more, we can reach in and grab our jets, unscrew them, take them off, and we're going to store them away for the winter as well. Now the water is not down below it yet, as you can see, but we're just taking them off in preparation of the next step. Make sure when you take it off that the entire jet comes out. Sometimes that part there, the threaded part remains in, and if it does, you'll need to get down there with a tool to remove it from the threads itself. Now we're going around to the other jet. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to remove the second jet, unscrew it, and again, make sure that don't lose your glasses. Make sure that when you take this out that you have the entire threads and everything out in preparation of the plug, which is our next step. All right, so we'll take it out, and we'll put this off to the side, and then we're ready to continue with our next step then. Okay, so we're getting ready to set up our wet and dry vacuum. We have our hose and we have the different size adapters to fit into the skimmer basket so we can suck out any water that's inside there, and we have our other adapter to blow air through it. All right, so let's take a look down here and see what we look like. It looks pretty good. All right. Okay, next we're going to get everything set over by the pump itself, and in preparation of blowing out the main drain and the skimmer basket. We have our fitting here, the nipple that's going to screw onto it. It's actually a 9/16 wrench, just so you know. We're going to be removing that plug and screwing that nipple into that, and that's where our compressed air is going to go. But we're not going to do that yet. All right, and here you can see our robot's still working. As I said, it's imperative the bottom of the pool is clean. All right, we're still waiting. That water is down almost below the return jets now, so we'll come back when it's a little bit lower. And in the meantime, we're going to go around the perimeter of the pool itself, and we're going to turn the lock tabs that the cover goes into. We're going to unscrew the screws so that we can connect into it. And this is, you just unscrew these down. You just take them up probably about a quarter of an inch, maybe a half an inch to stick up, so that way a spring for the cover can go on. And we're going to go around the entire pool perimeter until we have them all up and protruding, and that'll be our next step. Once all these pieces are up as far as they can go so that we can connect our cover onto it, we go back over and we find that our main drain has gone down below where it's supposed to be. So now it's actually safe to go inside and turn the pump off. We're going to go over to the pump, open up the cover, hit the stop button, and it stops. We're going to now go in the house and we're going to turn off the power supply to the pump itself, so that way it doesn't accidentally go on while we're working on it. So we're going to click it off. We're going to go over to the pump now, and we're going to make sure that the pump itself is got no more power to it. You can see that the screen is blank. There's no more power going to it, so we know now it's safe to go ahead and to work on it. We're going to pull the valve now around, and we're going to put it to the closed position, so that way we can have anticipation of shooting air through it and clearing out the lines themselves. Now down on the bottom of the pump, there's two little plastic valves. We're going to remove one of them right now in the bottom part of the skimmer basket. We're going to take that off. You're going to see a little bit of water come out. Make sure that you got your O-ring out too, because in the springtime you're going to need that O-ring to put it back together. We're going to screw the fitting in, and I will warn you of this. Do not over tighten this fitting. If you over tighten the fitting, you run the possibility of cracking the housing. So you just have to screw it so it's screwed in probably maybe a quarter of an inch so that it's actually holding in and it's fairly snug inside there. All right, so once we have it tight enough, we're going to grab our hose from the compressor, and we're going to introduce air into it to pump out the water that's in the lines. Plug it on, and you can see now that the water is blowing out of the, okay, we have 25 pounds of pressure, just so you know. And we're going to adjust our regulator just to bring it up so it's exactly 25. Then we're going to go over and we're going to take a look at our drains to make sure that the water is actually coming out the way it's supposed to be. Our main drain should be bubbling like crazy, and as you can see, it is. So we're blowing out the main drain first, and then we're going to blow out the skimmer after we blow it out. And we'll actually do this on 2 or 3 different occasions. We don't just do it once, we do it on 2 or 3 occasions, run a tank of air through it, just to make sure that the lines are perfectly clear. And we're going to go back over to our pump and our filter. And as you can see, I have an M on there, which means that main drain is open, the skimmer basket is closed. Now we're just going to go around, we're going to turn it around the other way, and now all of our air is going to be diverted away from the main drain, and it's going to blow out everything through the skimmer. And you can see it coming out through the skimmer right now. All right, so let's take a walk over there and let's see what it looks like. This is what it looks like down inside. That air is bubbling out and pushing out all the water, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. Next, we're going to grab our wet and dry vacuum, and it's very important that we suck out any of the water that's inside there, because we're going to do this a couple of different times to make sure we get everything out of the lines themselves. So we're going to suck out all of the water out until this is bone dry, and then we'll take the pointy part of the wet and dry vacuum, put it down into that to the line, and suck out all the water that's in the line itself, going over to the pump itself. All right, and once we're fairly confident we have it nice and clean, perfect. We're going to reconnect our air up again. We're going to switch it over again to our skimmer to shoot all of the water that's left inside there out. And as you can see, we have nothing coming out, so we know that that line is perfectly clear and no more water's coming out. So we know it's in good shape. We're going to go down there with a wet and dry vacuum. Of course, we're going to suck out the rest of the water that's inside there. All I'm going to tell you is that be very careful. You want to make sure you get all of the water out there that you possibly can. Worst thing you can do is try to take a shortcut and not blow it out numerous times. And then you're going to wind up with a freeze up in the winter, and you're going to be breaking pipes in the ground. So take your time, make sure you blow it out. At least, I always do it at least 2-3 times, just to make sure that we have all of the water out of the lines itself. Okay, next thing we did is we took our robot out, and he's going to be retired for the season. He did a great job. As you can see, the pool is now spotless. He did a really good job. I love this robot. It saved me so much work in the summertime. Now here again, we're blowing out that main drain again, because I want to make sure that we have no water, no residual water left inside there. And as you can see, it's just air coming through there. And by turning the valve around, it creates what's called an air lock. The water can't go in if the air won't come out. So by doing this, we create the air lock, and that way water cannot go back in. We're going to go into our skimmer here. We're going to take our skimmer basket out, all of that debris. We're going to clean it out. We're going to take a plug, and we're going to put this in just as insurance. We're going to put the plug into this just in case it was to leak a little bit from that main valve right there, and air was to get in there. This is just a secondary way of keeping the air in that main drain so that we don't have a problem with freeze-ups in the wintertime. Okay, so now we have to be confident that we have all the air out of everything. We're going to take that valve back out, that little nipple that's on there for my compressor. We're going to take that out too. Remember, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So now we're going to take that, we're going to pull it out counterclockwise to move it. And we're going to put this on the side so that we have it next year when we need to blow the pool out again. Now the bottom down here where this valve is coming out, you do not want to put anything back in there. Leave these out in the winter time, because if any water gets in there, it'll come out. So make sure you drain everything. This part of the pump right there is actually where the water is in the impeller. So you have to make sure that both plugs are out, and then leave them out so that they thoroughly drain. Next, we're going to come over to our filter. We're going to take off the bottom of it, and we're going to leave this off. I usually leave it off for a day or two just to make sure that everything is going to drain out. Now we had it in the closed position, so now we have an air lock inside there, so we're going to bring it around. We're going to bring it up, and we're going to leave it to the half on position. It's not going to be closed totally. It's going to stay open, and therefore the drain out. So for a couple of days, I'll leave that open so that it thoroughly drains out from all the sand that's inside there. Next, we're going to go over to the salt generator. We're going to grab a pair of adjustable pliers. We're going to remove the two big nuts that actually hold the salt generator in place. We're going to remove them, and we'll take the salt generator out. We'll store it inside the house so that we don't have any kind of damage from the winter time of leaving this outside. All right, just unscrew them, and that's it. We take it right out, and we're going to store it inside. Next, we're going to take our wet and dry vacuum. We're going to put it on the part that actually is not sucking in, but is actually blowing air out. And now we're going to take it and we're going to switch it so that it blows out through all of the return jets to make sure that all the water is out of the returns. And we're going to alternate it from the one return jet over to the other. So we're going to put it on this one. You can see now it's blowing out. Pretty clear. We'll go to our multi-valve, we'll switch it over, and then we'll blow it out through the other side just to make sure that we have all the water out of both left and right jets. And you can see that it's blowing out the water mixed with the air, of course. And we'll just do that to make sure we have the returns are all clear. Very important, because we don't want to have any water in there, because as you know, the water in the wintertime is going to freeze up for sure. So we're going to alternate back between both jets. We're not going to blow them both out at the same time. We're going to do one first. One that's totally clear, we'll proceed over to the other, and then we'll do that. And as I've done with the main drain and the skimmer basket, I don't just do it one time. I do it usually 2 to 3 times to make sure that we have all of the moisture out of there so that we don't have any problems. As I said, we alternate from one drain to the other, and then we just blow it out to get all of that water out of there. And we're going to take our time with that because we don't want any freeze-ups, as I said. Confident that we have all of the moisture out of there, we're going to grab our antifreeze, and I usually put about a half a gallon in each one of the returns. So we're going to pour about a half a gallon there. We're going to take our time because it is a small, thin hose that it's going through, but we're going to pour about a half a gallon into there. All right. And once we're confident that we have a half a gallon of antifreeze approximately inside there, then we're going to take our funnel out. We're going to grab our plug that has the Teflon tape on it and also the rubber seal. We'll remove it and we'll screw it in there right away. Remember, it's always good to have a little bit more than a little bit less of the antifreeze so that you don't have any freeze-ups. All right, so we'll pull it out of there and we'll get our plug in there and we'll plug it off. If you get some antifreeze into the pool, don't worry about it. It's perfectly safe. And if you drop your funnel in there, that's perfectly safe too. Just make sure you grab it before it sinks. Screw our plug in all the way, as tight as you can by hand. You don't want to use any tool on it because it will seal really well. And that's it. That's all we got to do. Next, we're going to come down and we're going to come over to our skimmer basket. And we're going to pour the same thing, about a half a gallon of antifreeze down inside there, so that way the antifreeze goes down inside the line that goes over to the filter itself to be filtered out. So we'll pour about a half a gallon inside there. Once we have that filled up, we'll take our gizmo that we wrapped that Teflon tape around it, and we're going to screw it around. We're going to screw it down into the skimmer basket as far as you can, and that'll seal off any of the water from going down into that line. Now, if there was to get ice inside here in the winter, the gizmo would actually crush and it would keep from cracking up the housing itself. But to play it safe, I pour a little bit more antifreeze inside there just to make sure. Next, we're going to come over to our return jets, and I switch it again from one side to the other, and I pour approximately a half a gallon down inside the one return, and I pour about a half a gallon inside the other, and I just switch that valve from one to the other so that we can actually have sufficient antifreeze in there. Because as I said, you don't want to freeze up on there, and I'm sure you're very worried about that. All right, so once you feel you have about a half a gallon in there, switch it over to the other side, and then we'll pour a half a gallon in there, and that'll go down to the second return jet on the opposite side. All right, I put it in the neutral position, which is half and half on both of them. And then I always screw a plug into the top of it because I don't want any little animals crawling down inside there and making a nest in the winter time. So the plug doesn't have to be tight, it just has to sit on top of it to deter any animals from getting inside there. I do the exact same thing on the upper. I just screw a plug into the upper as well, and just to hold it in there so that we don't have any kind of anything going inside there. And that's it. We pour a little bit of antifreeze into the pump itself. As you know, we have the valve out on the bottom so that it'll just leak right back out. Next, we come up to our gauge that's on there. We unscrew our gauge and take it off, and we're going to store that inside again so we don't have any freeze ups and anything breaking. Around the back, we have our sight glass in the back there. We're going to take that sight glass off. We're going to unscrew it. Again, it's counterclockwise to take it off. We're going to put our finger in there, and we're going to take that O-ring out too, because we're going to need that in the springtime. And that's it. Next, we're going to take off the electrical piece here, which is a handle, I believe, to keep the metal from getting deteriorated from the pool. So we're going to remove that. We just unscrew these band clamps, remove it, and then we just give it a little pop with your hand, and it comes right off. And that's it. Now me, I don't like leaving this open in the winter time, again, because I don't want little animals getting inside there, or even water. So what I do is I take a piece of rubber, put it over the top of it, and then I screw down these clamps to hold it in place, so that way we don't have any kind of moisture getting inside there whatsoever. It doesn't have to be tight, it just has to be snug to hold the rubber in place. And we're going to do that on the left and right side of the hole. Once we have this screwed down, the next thing is going to be grab the cover, and we're going to stretch the cover across the pool, and we'll connect it up under the cleats so that way it protects the pool come the winter time. Alright, so we're going to have to get a couple of people in here to give me a hand with it, so let's stretch it across. We'll connect a couple springs up and I'll come right back and I'll show you what it looks like. Now here you can see I put it across the pool itself. We have a couple of these springs connected already. We're going to grab our tool and we're going to reconnect the rest of them. Now before you put this on, you want to make sure all your chemicals are in there and it's balanced correctly. Especially in the winter time, you want to put your floating items inside there so that way it can slowly put all the chemicals in the pool through the winter time. But that's it. That's how the cover looks when it's all finished. Or everything is tight, nice and snug, and that's it. We're ready for the winter now. It looks perfect. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.